Welcome, everyone, and welcome to the Lakeside Fantasy Football Podcast, where we don't have the answers, but neither do the experts.
All right. There it is, our intro.
That's our intro, guys. Nice and official.
So, first and foremost, we have to say thank you to our listeners. We had 59 views, and we added 5 subscribers in our first episode. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Not bad.
Not bad.
I don't know where you guys are coming from, but keep on the support. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. So, in this episode, we are going to talk about draft strategies, which is such an important part to your entire season. You got to come into your draft knowing what you're doing, not just following ADP. And if you do that, you're ahead of the game.
That sets the tone for the whole season. You
Mhm.
can look back and have lots of regrets if you don't prepare enough.
Mhm.
So having a good draft strategy going in is very important.
Absolutely. Matt, you remember the remember the year that we had the big board and the stickers for the players that were drafted? Do you remember that?
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. We did a live draft at my house, and we took stickers. It was a big board, and it came with stickers for all the players, and you would stick the stickers on for like who people were drafting, and we saved it and put it in our college apartment. And throughout the year, I remember just referencing that board and being like, "Why did I do this?" Or what? Like, just it was just like, what? How did they get this person here? Like, it was really fun to like look back at that, and I find myself looking back at our like drafts all the time, every single year. Like, even if we do them on Google or ESPN or whatever, I'm always looking back and seeing who got the steals.
Yeah, that board was a constant reminder of my failures from that year.
It totally was.
But,
Not just for you though, for me too.
yeah, but it was a good reminder that draft strategy is king. If you don't come into the draft with a strategy, chances are you're going to be sleeping on a lot of people who could have breakout years. I'm going to start off by saying that I don't like ADP. I don't just draft what ADP tells you to draft. I don't think
Trap.
I think that's a terrible strategy.
Absolute trap. ADP said Antonio Brown like 2 years ago to me, and I went, yeah, that makes sense to me. And then he's like, I don't want to wear this helmet. This helmet isn't. I want to wear my helmet. I'm like, well, your helmet isn't up to code anymore. Well, I'm only wearing this helmet, and I was just sweating. I'm like, dude, please play. I've got,
Not
I don't
only
know.
that, but the frozen feet.
The frozen feet. It was a whole saga, and that was the year of the board. That was the year of the sticker board. So I had to look at that all year long. Like, second round pick, Antonio Brown. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. That was really painful.
Hey, I had a bad second round. I mean, not looking back, it's pretty bad. I took Calvin Ridley second round last year, and that
makes
didn't go
sense
so well.
though. But it makes sense.
I was like, now Julio's gone. Like, he's going to take a large percentage of those passes. And not exactly the way I wanted it. But
Yep.
oh well. I made up for it with a fifth round selection of Cooper Cup. So
There it is.
Nice.
Oh, that's so good.
That well makes up for it. I know the episode's not about this, but I just want to touch on it. Calvin Ridley is out for the season, right?
yes, because of the suspension.
Is he like gambled $500 or something on the Falcons or something?
Yeah, while he was out, gambled on the Falcons to win.
Yeah.
That's and I'm sorry, I just can't believe that. Sometimes the NFL doesn't make sense to me. I mean, Nah, I'm not trying to say anything controversial, but Kareem Hunt kicks a
I was holding
woman.
my breath.
I mean, I'm sorry. We can't have gambling. We can't have weed. But I mean, physical abusers. That's all right. You're welcomed.
Oh no.
Hot takes.
It is. I'm sorry. That's just my only gripe. But we can move on. We can move on. We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
have some fun now.
We can talk. Yeah, we can talk about the inconsistency of NFL discipline. That could be a whole episode
Yeah.
for sure. What does really really suck though is when you draft a player. Yeah, I'm gonna take this topic and like bend it back to our draft strategies. When you draft a player like Calvin Ridley, second round, you're like, it makes perfect sense. The situation's there, the value, the talent, it's all there. At a good draft price, you're like, oh, this is it. And then you draft him, and then something like he gets hurt, something happens, suspension. Like that's why you need to have more than just your guy. You know what I mean? You got to have your guy and your guy. You know what I mean? You need a backup to your backup. You've got
Absolutely.
to be ready to roll with the punches because there's going to be injuries, there's going to be suspensions, there's going to be. I mean, you're gonna have that bye week ridiculousness where your whole team's on bye. Like you just need to have depth to your team. That's first and foremost one of my draft strategies, and I feel like that's everyone. That's not even a draft strategy. This is what everyone's trying to do. But like depth is so important.
Yeah, I think your mid-round selections are so much more important than like early and late. Because like early, you're gonna get someone good, and it all depends on luck at that point. Is there gonna be an injury? Um, you know, production is it gonna be there? But you could do a lot in the mid rounds, um, and that can really make or break you.
I completely agree with that.
Yeah. Good stuff. Like you guys were saying, I mean, early rounds you want to draft your man. Mid rounds, yeah, you want to get some depth on your team, and then those late rounds just for, at least for me, get those sleepers. Um,
Rookies, I look out for rookies sometimes. Rookies are risky, but they can really pay off.
yeah, I mean, yeah, those late rounds, I don't like drafting the old Ben, so to speak.
Mhm.
We're looking for that young talent.
You like your young fantasy players,
I
your
do, I
young
really do.
footballers. Yeah,
Not
no
high
Adrian
on
Peterson for you.
no Adrian Peterson, not high on Patterson,
Okay,
but
was
yeah,
it? Now we're gonna go so off topic. I think Cordero Patterson. Was he like top 10? Was it like a top 10 running back last year or something? Like wasn't he a running
Yeah.
back wide receiver like duo?
Yep.
Like
yep,
you
Yeah, I
play him
had him on
anywhere.
my roster,
Oh,
and he did work for me. It was
oh,
amazing.
yeah. I think that's just such an outlier. I
you think so?
there's no way he does it 2 years in a row. I mean, that's just it's crazy what he did last season. I mean, that was the first year he switched to running back, so I mean, maybe we're gonna see more of the same from last year. I don't know, but if I was a bet,
No ageism.
I have some ageism. I
I don't know.
definitely have
He's
some
31.
ageism, but yeah, if I was a betting man, I definitely bet he's not gonna crack top 15 this year.
I could have. I could swore I saw some sleeper like notification that was talking about Cordell Patterson and one of the coaches or something talking about him and just saying how they're gonna really try to get him like less touches this year. I can't validate that. I'm just pretty sure I saw that notification at one point. So who knows if that's true or not.
Well, probably because Marcus Mariota's gonna start running the
But yeah,
ball.
yeah, that's
And,
yeah.
but
I'm of the mindset of you, Matt, where I kind of feel like last season was an outlier. I wouldn't. He's tough. He's risky. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no,
He,
and talent's
if you love
definitely
Cordell
there.
Patterson, yeah, he's talent's there. If you love Cordell Patterson, like sure, I don't know. For me, I probably would stay away from Cordero Patterson.
Yeah, I'm definitely not taking him earlier in the draft.
He's getting drafted around like the 7th round, 6th, 7th, 8th
That was my
round.
next question. Where's his ADP?
Yeah. So he's right in the mid rounds.
I would go somewhere. I would look elsewhere at that point in the draft.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Makes sense.
Opinion, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. In those rounds, at least for Patterson, you'd be passing up on players like Singletary, Pollard, Melvin Gordon, Chase Edmonds, Rashad Penny.
Dude, yeah. If Melvin Gordon down there to me is looking nice. I know Javonte Williams is there, but man, he got some.
Melvin Gordon's always been a stud. At least when
He's always had good statistical years.
yeah.
I had him last year, so I'm a little biased, but I like Melvin Gordon. He was always on my bench, and I was always like, yeah, I'm comfortable playing you if I have to. You could get in the end zone.
He's a good depth player, I
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I trust Melvin Gordon over Cordero Patterson for next season. Opinion. And we're way off topic.
That's just what happens. I mean,
That's
we're
what
just
happens
talking
here.
And we
football.
were
We're
talking
just
about draft.
going down a rabbit hole. I mean,
Yep. So what do you guys think? What is your general just like draft strategy? Do you have one, or do you just like? I know we talked about like value, situation, talent. Like what are your priorities? What do you guys kind of go for when you're coming into drafts? Or do you not really have a draft strategy?
I would say for myself, I value situation. So who's on the depth chart? Are they the number one? Are they on the bench? Um, what else is happening in that offense? Their running back, how much are they going to use that? Um, wide receiver, how good is their quarterback? The other receivers around them. Are they going to be moving the ball a lot and in lots of scoring positions? Because sometimes it's just a gamble of who's scoring that touchdown on a really good team. Um, but I would definitely say early rounds. I mean, you got to go running back. Um, Sometimes I see a receiver in the second round, and like Calvin Ridley last year. I don't know. Just looking this year, like it's just hard to see that many productive running backs. So I would hate to go without at least two starters and like a guy you can throw in the flex.
Yeah,
Um, that like I really like. You know.
definitely
okay.
a good strategy for
Yeah.
sure. When you were talking about running backs, music to my ears. I
Mhm.
I go all after running backs. More years than not, I do running back for a second round. More years than not, just because there's such a commodity. Like there's just less productive running backs than productive wide receivers. And if you're really hurting down the line, like in your season, not that you want to be in that position, but if you really need something and you have an abundance of running backs will always have value. You can always trade a running because people will always need them or want them. They're going to get injured. There's just less of them. That's just where my mindset is. I try to go for running back, at least two running backs within the first 3 rounds is what I shoot for. And something that worked out really well for me from last year that I definitely want to implement going forward is I snagged handcuffs, even if they weren't like that like sought after. Like I had the Dalvin Cook Alexander Madison combo last year, which was phenomenal, and Alexander Madison is one of those like top tier handcuffs. But like even the lesser tier handcuffs, like I would still snag them, and it just helped me not be so anxious all the time. Just being like, I know if this running back gets hurt, this dude's gonna be he's gonna have the situation. There's a situation. He's gonna get like 15 carries and a decent chance of running in for a touchdown. Like I love the comfort of having handcuffs to my running backs.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. Running back is just such a scarce position that there's not there's not too many running backs that you'd be comfortable with starting week to week. And with wide receiver, it's just so plentiful that you can honestly do a strategy where you draft running back, running back, running back, running back, 4 straight rounds. And I bet you could still find some very good wide receiver talent for your squad. Uh, I mean, that's
Yeah.
a strategy I probably wouldn't implement, but
I don't know if
Yeah,
you've
it
ever
seems a
seen
little
it,
extreme.
but
but I know
I
what you're saying. I know what you're saying. You can get some wide receiver threes, even wide receiver twos down there.
I
Like,
I I think especially this year, there are so many question marks with wide receivers that you could find a couple wide receiver ones in the late to mid rounds.
mhm.
I just think I don't know. There's guys like Alan
Michael
Lazard,
Thomas. Sorry.
um, Christian Kirk, um, I mean Tony even Kadarius Tony, Robert Woods, Chris Olave. I mean there's guys out there in the late rounds that could have very very good years
Oh
or
yeah.
a very very good season. But
Yeah, there's a lot of
personally,
guys on bad teams that get overlooked. Especially wide receivers.
Mhm.
Bad team's gonna throw the ball a lot. Someone's got to catch it.
you would think so. Um, it's not the case for the Giants, really, but um, but I mean, me personally, I'm always looking to get value out of my picks. I could be lacking in a certain position during the draft, but I'm not gonna draft like if I'm needing running backs and I see some really good receivers on the board, but like I know that I need running back. I don't think I'm gonna settle for some mediocre running back and passing up some potentially elite wide receiver talent.
Yeah,
Because
I kind of yeah.
I just
I
want the
sorry. Go ahead.
value. No, you're good. I just really want to hammer home. I'm always trying to get value out of my picks, and I'm never settling for something just because my team might need it.
I completely I subscribe. I completely agree because like I come into these drafts being like running back, running back. I'm doing running back, running back. I'm just doing it. I'm doing it every single like I'm always coming in thinking, all right, we have 2 running backs. Figure out receivers later, and then I'll like it was last year. It was last year or 2 years ago. Got my top tier running back. I was like, all right, coming around snake draft, coming around the corner. All right, look, which running back am I gonna get? Which running back am I gonna get? And I'm like, there's no way Tyreek Hill is gonna be there. Oh, Tyreek Hill's there. Ah, well, never mind about running back. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there is definitely merit to what you're saying. Where like, if there's a guy that is falling way past, like way down, even though his ADP is way high, like you gotta really really consider that. So it's really about reading and analyzing how like what the draft is presenting to you.
Yeah, every draft is different, so everyone's going to have different opportunities, and you have to be prepared to take advantage of certain opportunities when they present themselves.
Absolutely. I think a great tool for just figuring out your general draft strategy and just practicing this. We've got 2 on our Google Doc here. We got Draft Wizard, Sleeper Mock Draft. Actually, we have 3, and ESPN Mock Draft. Do as many mock drafts as you can because they're so helpful. I do them all the time. even if it's just like I do them with the bots, like just ADP mock drafts, because then you kind of get a sense like, okay, this is generally where this player's going. I kind of want to snag this guy before other people because I value him a little bit higher. Like it kind of primes you and gets you ready to like know when to take who you want to take, kind of thing, and to kind of identify when there's going to be some value. Like you can't always predict when who's going to be available when, kind of thing, but I really like the mock drafts because sometimes they don't always go the exact same, and sometimes some of them will like fall. Some players will fall, and then you'll be put in a situation where it's like, oh, I got to decide between this player or this player, and it's just simulating what you're gonna do when it comes time for your actual draft, and I really like them.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps you kind of get into that mindset because I mean, you definitely have to stay calm when you're doing the draft and just really think on your feet. Because it could get really stressful when it's trying to make a big decision and the clock's running and everything. Um, but getting practice in that, um, knowing where people will go and stuff like that, that can help calm you down when it comes time to your actual draft.
Oh yeah, I remember our old school fantasy leagues. I would have that feeling a good amount where I didn't do many mock drafts, but I would be placed in a situation of like I'm not sure which way I want to go, and I would just get so stressed, and I would panic pick someone. And you don't ever want to be in that situation.
Mock drafts definitely help you prepare to get into the mindset of what it's going to be like. Uh, I especially like doing mock drafts just because I find out new information where I'm like, oh, I could have drafted this player a little later, or oh, this player was still available. Maybe I shouldn't have drafted this other player. Then it helps you see how the season is going to go for drafting wise. Um, so so it seems like you guys are very running back heavy in the first two rounds. Uh, I'm wondering about this year's draft. Is there at at what point are you gonna select a receiver? If like all the running backs that you wanted to get in that first round were taken, well, when is that point?
Let's bring up the ADP here. Let's check it out. We're slightly getting into the tier list episode for me, but
Yeah,
oh
we are dipping a
man,
little
it's
bit into
tough.
it.
It's tough
I
though.
mean, so per this list from Fantasy Pros, top receivers are Cooper Cup, Justin Jefferson, and Jamar Chase. If any of those three are still in the second round, are you taking them?
Second round, I would have to. Those
Yeah,
are if they're falling to the second round, those are one of or I'm thinking about a 12 team league. If they're falling to second round, I think they become suddenly a value pick.
yeah, that's a must take.
Mhm.
Now, what if we
So
expand
But
it?
okay, so just I'm looking at
You
we
can
got
go,
like
Kyle.
Alvin Kamara. Yeah, we've got Alvin Kamara. At, he's being drafted in the second round. I feel like there's a slight argument to be made of like Alvin Kamara or honestly, even if you're like really in on the running back strategy, there's kind of an even like Joe Mixon. Like it's hard to pass those play. I mean, I would take Cooper Cup or Justin Jefferson probably over those two, but like seeing like just seeing Alvin Kamara there just makes me want to go. Oh, running back right there. I
yeah,
like him.
it,
I want
Mhm.
him.
but there's a there's a fourth category I feel like where it's the high risk players. We don't know how long he's going to get suspended for. That's the big question
I
mark with him.
know.
If
That's
it's
why I'm
three
like I
Yeah,
would
games,
never take him over like Cooper Cup for Justin Jefferson,
yeah.
but just seeing like
If
Kamara
it's
right
three,
there.
yeah. If it's just 3 games he's suspended for, then a second round pick is an absolute steal for Alvin Kamara.
Yeah,
But if it's going to 6 games, then I
so
think
risky.
I think that's you're overpaying for him if he's gonna miss 6 games.
Dude,
'Cause that's
I
practically
want
half
the
the
all
season.
yeah, yeah. I want the I want the all suspended team this year. I want Alvin Kamara. I want DeAndre Hopkins. I want Michael Thomas. Oh no, Michael Thomas isn't suspended.
No, you want Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Give me the all suspended team. I'll go 0-6, and then we're coming back with a
Just
vengeance.
not making the playoffs.
Yeah,
And they're the strongest team outside of it.
yeah. I mean, even like Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley's going like late second round. Crazy.
I think he's a risky player, but I
I know.
also think he's a value pick.
I think so too.
I think so. He's a stud. I mean, the last couple seasons it's been awful.
Yeah.
Um, I'm. I mean, he's been over a year removed from that ACL tear. I think we're gonna start seeing Saquon become Saquon like we saw him his rookie year. Um, he's still so young. I think he's what 23. I mean, he's got a
Yeah.
lot of prime years ahead of him.
Mhm.
I just hate the situation.
I
That
know. I
team,
know.
like,
That that's a perfect. This is a perfect example of like talent super high, value pretty high, situation pretty low. I mean, situation's okay because he's getting a lot of targets and attempts and stuff, but it's just that Giants offense.
Yeah, I mean, they're always gonna be down. I mean, this is just like a Giants like hate podcast basically. But but the Giants are just gonna always be down, so they're just gonna be throwing the ball anyways. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I mean, I like Saquon, great player. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's tough. I don't know if I'd consider him a value pick, but definitely talent. He's got all the talent in the world.
Joe Mixon or Devontae Adams, second round.
being Joe Mixon.
I I would pick Devontae Adams. I'm a little biased because I'm a Packers fan, but
I would also pick Devontae Adams. They were going against. I'm like running back, running back. We
yeah,
have to pick running back,
you,
and then I'm like, I think I take Devontae Adams.
yeah.
um,
um, it's just Devontae. I don't think there's too many like slam dunk receivers in the draft where like you can draft them and then you're comfortable with starting them every week. Like
they're not
you're gonna
moving.
get an elite week from them.
Yeah.
There's just not too many of them out there. Joe Mixon, he's an RB1, but I think especially if it's the second round. I mean, I'm assuming I went running back in the first round. I'd probably pick Devontae Adams, get an elite running back, and then pair it off with an elite wide receiver.
A
Um,
guy that I really like that's slipping into that second round, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb,
Yeah.
ADP
people
18.
people must think Nick Chubb's boring. I mean, I don't know. To me, I feel like he's always undervalued.
He's super solid, super solid.
It was kind of always iffy of him because, like, they brought in Kareem Hunt, and then, like, I don't know, like, with how the offense was going, like, they're very run dependent. It seemed like worried about teams stacking the box and everything, but he just produces.
It's been
Probably
like, yeah,
missed out a lot on him.
yeah. He just has good statistical years, like one after the other. The other. He's an awesome running back, and he's to me he's a huge value. From just looking at this ADP sheet we're looking at, huge value. He's a
Hmm.
guy I would be mega targeting in the second round if I was going running back, running back.
Yeah, the Browns' offense is running through Nick Chubb and no one else.
Yeah.
Um,
CD
so
Lamb or Nick Chubb?
I mean, I don't have to hesitate at all. I'd pick Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb all day long. They're
Yeah,
right
Nick
next to each
Chubb.
other ADP wise.
See, CD Lamb is not a slam dunk receiver in my opinion.
That's interesting.
He's not like a Justin Jefferson. He's not a Cooper Kupp or a Devontae Adams. I mean, I might get some hate, but I don't even think Jamar Chase is a slam dunk receiver. But now we're really getting into
We need a
tier
hot
list.
take button. Hot take
The hot
button.
tamale take. That we're really dipping into the tier list video. I mean,
we are so in the tier list video.
like, how do we get out? How do we get out?
Video.
Someone throw down a rope. We gotta climb out.
we gotta close the ADP, I guess. Man, go Birds! Take that, CeeDee Lamb. AJ Brown. That's where it's at. We're taking AJ Brown first round. You heard it here first. First round pick, AJ Brown. We're all in agreement. We talked about it beforehand.
No, we were not
Go
responsible for any fantasy bets.
Unless you're in our league and plan on taking AJ Brown first round, go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do we get out of this tier list?
They go hand in hand almost. I mean, I know this episode was supposed to be mainly philosophy where we don't talk about players, but I think it's helping, I don't know, people listening to pair the philosophy with the players that we're talking about. I think it's, I don't know.
I'd say it's helpful.
Yeah.
What about this? We have Josh Allen going early third round. Are you taking that?
This is a really good segue into our quarterback discussion and where we're thinking about QBs. Me, never.
I would agree.
That's me.
I would also agree. I do not like taking quarterbacks that early. You're passing up
to Josh Allen.
No. He is. I mean, in my rankings, we're getting tier list again. My rankings, he's the number one. But I just don't like taking quarterback early, just because that's when you can get more elite talent for positions that are more scarce than the quarterback position.
Absolutely. It's going to start dropping fast. You can take a QB in a round, 2 round, 3 round, 4 rounds, and they're going to be serviceable quarterback. I mean, they're going to vary in terms of like what they're producing, but I just think it's more valuable to have more depth in those positions that are not as broad and wide as QB. Like, that's just where I'm at. Like, I'm looking at like Josh Allen, third round, right? Like right around him, you taking Josh Allen over like Ezekiel Elliott's kind of falling there. Ezekiel Elliott, see the Cam Akers, see Terry McLaurin around there.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, like I can't pass up on it. Like DK Metcalf, like I can't. Me personally, I can't pass up on a depth wide receiver or running back like that. Not even depth. Like those are starting caliber players. So I would never. I just can't. I can't. I'm never the guy that has Patrick Mahomes ever.
Yeah, I mean, back to the point where there are going to be injuries throughout the season, and if you have no bench, your chances of, I mean, you might get into the playoffs, but your chances of winning are just very slim because there are going to be injuries, and you might be regretting spending that high pick on a quarterback rather than actually preparing your team to make it through an entire season because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Absolutely. 100%. You're gonna be living on the waiver wire also. You're gonna be like, oh my god, I need a running back so bad. And then you're gonna trick yourself. In your brain, you're gonna trick yourself and be like, this is the answer. This is it. It's this guy. He had 25 points last week. This is it. This is it. Everyone's saying it. Everyone over at ESPN, they're saying it. He's gonna be the guy. What happens if he's not?
Yeah.
Like you're in some deep water. Some hot water. Some deep hot water. So where do you guys like to take QBs? Do you let the value Like just see what kind of falls to you when it feels right, or do you kind of have a general spot where you're shooting for?
Yeah, I usually go for mid-tier QBs. Like once everyone starts taking QBs, it's like, okay, now's the time. Um,
Okay.
Last year I did take Josh Allen 4th round, and that worked out great. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know what my philosophy is this year, if I'm gonna do something similar or go back to later taking quarterbacks.
Hmm.
I mean, can be valued at taking a quarterback early. You just gotta really hit on it.
Right. Well, let me throw this question at you guys. If Josh Allen is being drafted in like the third round, it seems like early third almost,
Cool.
uh, would you draft Josh Allen if somehow he fell to the fourth round? Because now is it a value pick? But then you'd be going against your philosophy of drafting a quarterback early.
Me personally, I wouldn't.
You don't
I
think the
definitely
value's
would too.
there.
The value's there. The value is totally there, and I'm no expert, but to me, I subscribe so much to the depth argument of having more wide receivers and running backs, tight ends, that I just know there's so much there, quarterback wise, that like even a value of a top tier QB to me, is it really a value? If you're like I don't know, fourth round guy, like I don't know, still looking at Zeke Elliott, David Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, George Kittle, like I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
What do you say, Connor?
I would definitely do it because how it worked out last year.
Right,
I mean,
yeah. It
if I can
must
get
work
him
again.
again. Um, I mean, I'd be comfortable if I took 2 running backs, a wide receiver, and then going quarterback there, you know? Um, if it's Josh Allen,
Right.
I guess you could also throw in Mahomes in there, but, I don't know.
So I guess like a situation where for some reason you drafted three running backs in a row. I don't know what idiot would recommend that. Um,
Yeah, what podcast would say draft three running backs in a row? I think they said that they could draft 4 or 5. They could still have a good team.
yeah, if you drafted three running backs in a row and Josh Allen fell to you in the fourth round, are you taking him? Because now you don't have any receiver at that point.
I think it's like you
No.
said, there's so much receiver talent. And, like, another thing is, I feel like you can always find a serviceable receiver in waivers, one that can get you through a week.
Mhm. To answer my own question, I agree with you, Connor. To answer my own question, I will say I'm drafting Josh Allen, even if I drafted three running backs in a row. Just referencing back on my philosophy of I'm always picking the best available player. I'm never gonna settle for a mediocre wide receiver to put in my wide receiver one spot when I could have a QB one. I don't think I'm always gonna be looking for the value in my picks. And that would absolutely be a value pick right there that I wouldn't be able to pass up, even if I needed the depth.
Makes a lot of sense.
We so here's what I'm thinking. We need like a statistician on our podcast crew here, because like what is the benefit, like so like I was crunching a little some numbers here on this notepad, right? So I'm looking at like Matthew Stafford, right? Matthew Stafford scored 346 fantasy points last year versus the leader, Josh Allen, at 417. So that's a difference of 50 points. So 50
Right.
points over the season. we're talking about rounds, around multiple round difference between drafting Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford, right?
Right.
Would be more beneficial to pass on Josh Allen, maybe subtract 50 fantasy points from your team QB wise, and pick up like a George Kittle. You know what I'm saying? Like, would that net your team more points in the end, or is it more beneficial to go with a Josh Allen? Like that is my kind of philosophy. In that, I think there's more value in that you can net your team more points if you draft other positions rather than QB potentially. And I don't really have any data to back that up, but that is my philosophy.
Now, what is George Kittle's production versus
Let's
or
see. Here
is
we go.
a tight end you would have selected with the Matthew Stafford pick?
Okay, George Kittle scoring 198 points last year. And then I have no idea what Matthew Stafford's
Devin.
ADP.
Yeah, I don't know about last year's ADP, but this year it's looking like Devin Knox is like right next to Matthew Stafford, or Mike
Dawson
Gesicki,
Knox.
Zach Ertz, uh, Freiermuth, or a couple guys around.
See, now we're gonna need a real formula here, because I feel like you got to factor in like their average points scored, because like sometimes they miss time. Like, we need some formulas.
I would say that QB and tight end are very similar in that sense of like you can find that like similar talent later on. I guess you could say like instead of a tight end, maybe you got a wide receiver. Um, you build up that depth, or like a running back where, you know, you can't always find that later in the draft.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tight end is such a commodity.
We're gonna need a disagree button, like an alarm that goes off or something, because usually we agree with a lot of things. So I think we should make a big deal when we disagree with something.
I like that. I like that. We need to start yelling at each other. Okay, can we start getting angry?
Connor, I disagree with your thought that you said QB and tight end are very similar positions.
Wow.
Whoa!
Because I think tight end, there are maybe 4 or 5 relevant tight ends, and then the rest you might as well not put anybody in there. With QB, I think you're able to do something with some waiver picks. I don't know. I think they're pretty different in that aspect, where there's not a lot of options with tight end, but with QB, I think you could find a lot of options.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
I could see
yeah.
like the very top portion of tight ends. Like you're not gonna find like Travis Kelsey or Kittle's production later on. But
Drops
I
fast.
mean, it seems every year I find someone in waivers. Like what's his name? Schultz. Every
I found
year
Schultz last year.
he's in waivers and I pick him up and he does
Right.
really good.
Yeah. I mean,
Um
you caught lightning in a bottle there. I don't think that's a very common thing for people to do, because now Schultz is getting drafted like a top 6, top 5 tight end.
Yeah, for sure.
sure. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah, we will see.
We need it. I'm telling you guys, we need a statistician. There's formulas to answer these philosophical questions. There just
I
are.
I will say, I mean, just not even thinking about the math there that you're trying to do over there, Kyle, but
It's not going very far. You wouldn't be that impressed with my notepad.
but the way that I look at it, I mean, I think if there are 2 players on your starting lineup that are scoring 30 plus points in 1 week, chances are you are gonna win. I would say more often than not you would win that week. And I think drafting a top tier quarterback like Josh Allen could easily get you those 30 points, and then pairing it off with a top tier running back or top tier wide receiver, I think that can be a very dangerous combo, which is why I get that people like draft the top QBs very early on. I don't know if your guys' experience has been the same, where usually if two players are scoring 30 plus points, then you're probably going to win. But
Yeah, if you've got two guys that are like, if you like, not gonna say any names, thinking of a particular individual in our fantasy league. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they had. This is actually really good to bring. This is really good to bring up because this is emphasizing my point here, or your point. They brought up. They drafted not Travis Kelce. They drafted Tyreek Hill first, and second round they drafted Patrick Mahomes. I remember being like, Patrick Mahomes in the second round. That's so high. Like, Patrick Mahomes is so good, but man, I couldn't pass up on like this running back, this receiver in the second round. Well, like some of their team was like a little questionable, but man, when those two went off, like they could just win.
yeah,
Like, they could just win games
you
with
wouldn't
just
beat them.
Mahomes and Hill. Like it's like 30 points and 40 points. It's like, how do you beat that? Like, there's 70 points between the first two people they drafted, and like, yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
like you put that into perspective, and if you're doing a running back kind of draft, how many weeks are you getting 50 plus points out of your running back 1 and 2? I mean, sometimes. But like, if you have that QB wide receiver combo like that, though, like the toppest of top tier QB wide receiver, it's like, oh man, you can put some points up. So the QB argument, it works, but I'll never be the one to do it. Like, that's just me. I'll never be the one to pull a trigger on a QB before like round 5. I've had success with that strategy, and I'm sticking to it.
That's fair. That's very fair. I think in this draft for this season, I think there's a lot of value in the mid rounds for QBs. I think there's a lot of QBs this year that are hovering around the same eliteness for me. I won't say any names. Not trying to get back down that rabbit hole, but
Be careful.
but yeah, I'm rarely the one to pull the trigger on a QB in the early rounds. Just
They've
like
got
I
to
said,
really drop.
it'd have to drop to me. If it's well below or well above their ADP, then I mean I'd have to pick them.
See, I knew this was going to be a good episode because we have different philosophies. Everyone has a different draft philosophy. And it's not like we're right or wrong. It's just like, this is what we have experienced. And this is like, we've had success doing our own thing, you know?
Yeah,
And it's a
there's
little bit of everything. Like, I don't know.
yeah. I mean,
Definitely.
I was just gonna say there's a lot of strategies out there that do work. I mean, I've heard people going the no running back strat.
Yeah, wide
And
receiver. Because they don't get hurt as often. That's the argument.
yeah.
Hmm.
Well, like even like wide receiver, like like the reverse 4 round running back pick. I've heard people just draft wide receiver over and over, and then they do surprisingly well.
I'll
Uh,
never do it. No way.
that's I
No
Too
way.
risky.
yeah that's way too risky
You,
for me.
you don't bring that into this podcast. Wide receiver, wide
We
receiver, wide
are
receiver,
a
wide receiver.
running back oriented
No.
podcast, not in this household. um,
Yeah. You come in with a plan, you got to react. That's been my experience. You got to react to what's happening. Like,
Yeah.
I say I wouldn't take Josh Allen if he started falling, but like, I'd start taking a look. You know what I mean? Like, you got to react to what people are doing. That's the biggest. That's one of the biggest keys is finding those guys that are falling. And you're like, are they falling? It's gonna that's what's gonna make you deviate from your original strategy of being like, I'm coming in here taking running back, or I'm gonna take only receivers. I'm
yeah,
taking only tight ends because then
don't
no
be
one else can
stubborn.
have a tight end.
Yeah, I think a big part of it's also just looking around at all the other teams and being like, what are they going to select next? And who's going to be around from next round, like
Mhm.
that constant thinking ahead.
It's a really good
Because
point.
sometimes I'm like, I could take this guy here, but I think he's going to be there my next pick.
Mhm.
So you sit
Oh,
on
I
that.
play that game a lot, dude. I feel like
Mhm.
we all play that game, right? They're like,
I
he's gonna be there. I can
Yep.
wait.
It's my favorite game to play when it works.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I will say I actually love either being a really early pick or being a really late pick because you get those back-to-back, potentially back-to-back picks, and like if you were like drafting at the 10th position out of 12 teams, then you're playing that game where like, well, I got another pick coming up soon, and I might be able to wait on this guy because there's only 4 other players getting selected until my next pick.
Good
Uh,
point.
so I don't really like being in the middle rounds because it's so much harder to play that game because there's just so many more players that are being taken before it's your next pick.
What's up?
So in those positions, I feel like if
I think
there's a player you really like, I
you're
feel
right.
like you're going to be reaching a lot if you're in the middle.
Good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I would say I wouldn't even want to be. I think I was going to say I wouldn't want to be in like the top three
See, I'm
because
different. I
you're
don't know.
taking that second round so late.
Yeah, I I start foaming at the mouth at the running backs in the top three. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yeah,
always
that's
like, give me top
I was
three.
starting to say, and I was like, oh, those running backs though. Like,
But it's true though. Like, no, it's true though because like if you're top three, you've got a long way to go. You're seeing a lot of top tier players just they're gone, they're gone, they're gone, they're like it's like I got my guy, but I mean this is up to the fantasy gods in terms of where we're going to be drafting. But I always hope for that top three pick.
I usually hate being a top 3 pick because I think usually players in like the middle of the first or the end of the first could very well be a top 3 player, and I know I'm not going to choose any of those players, but
yeah, I think of like Jonathan Taylor last year.
mhm.
Like he wasn't going that high,
No,
and if you were later in the first, you might have taken him.
Yeah, that's right.
ADP is not gonna be final standings for sure. Never
Absolutely not.
is.
Yeah. In this draft, I will say I do want to be a top 3 pick. There's some players out there that I'd really like to have on my team. Uh,
When do you guys like in tight end? When do you like taking tight end? Because I feel like every year I go in and I'm like, this is the year I'm getting Travis Kelsey. I'm gonna have so many points coming from my tight end position, and it's gonna be such a disadvantage for my opponent. It's great. And I've never gotten him. I've never drafted Travis Kelsey. Not intentionally. It's just someone always takes him before me.
I'm getting one of the top 4 guys, or I'm just
Just gonna wait
waiting.
forever.
I'm just waiting forever.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Yep. What we got top four? I don't mean to do tier. I'm not trying to. Whoa, tier
Uh-oh.
list. Whoa, not trying to go down that conversation again. But
Right now, it seems like Travis Kelsey, Mark
okay,
Andrews, Kyle Pitts, and then George
okay,
Kittle.
it's very interesting. Do
Yeah.
people think Darren Waller is going to be like significantly less in terms of statistical performance because Devontae Adams is there?
Um, I don't know.
Tough to
He didn't.
say.
Or go ahead, Connor.
Oh no, you can go
I was just gonna say
after
that.
you.
Why? Thank you. I was just gonna say that Darren Waller didn't really do much last season, and it seems like people are kind of taking that into consideration. Um, Like he's going in the 4th round. It seems like 4th or 5th round, which is
Oh
still really
yeah,
high for a
I'm
tight
seeing
end.
that.
But yeah, people don't have the top 3 expectations for him.
I see that. Now, I didn't follow him statistically last year, but he only had 665 yards and 2 touchdowns in 11 games compared to the previous year in which he had 9 touchdowns and like almost 1,200 receiving yards. So I understand the hesitancy. I was just curious.
Could potentially be a value pick if he goes back to what was that 2020 form,
Yeah, he's
but
honestly for me,
that's
I
high
feel like
risk.
his ADP is probably still higher than I'd be comfortable with taking that gamble on him after what we've seen just statistically now.
I agree. Yeah, he could be still overvalued just because of what he did in the past. Um,
No, I every time I look at George Kittle, I get PTSD of all the injuries. Like he
I get
produces
it.
when he's healthy, but I don't know. It's just
he's the Christian McCaffrey of tight ends.
Is it Travis Kelsey or bust?
Yeah, that's the strategy.
Is that it? It's Travis Kelsey or nothing.
No,
Mark Andrews. I might
I like Mark
add in
Andrews.
there.
Yeah, with Marquise Brown out,
True.
Mark Andrews is gonna pick up a lot of that target share.
Tier list, tier list, tier list.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be careful here, guys. Um,
um,
what about? We already talked about rookies a little bit, but what about late draft strategy? What do you guys do you guys look for rookies, or do you look more for established players that maybe are a bit older? I know, Matt, they're older. You're like, no, of course not. They're old. But what do you guys like to look for that late draft?
I'm definitely taking. I'm definitely taking depth guys. Back of the bench, throw them in if I need to. Um, just as an insurance kind of thing.
Okay.
But I'm definitely taking a rookie, at least one rookie. I think that's a must. Um, or at least second year guys. Um, anyone that I think that can um, maybe is in a different circumstance or just the extra experience could really pop off. 'Cause that's
How?
the time to take them.
Yeah.
uh, Me personally, I definitely like to get my rookies in the later rounds. Uh, there's always a handful of rookies that just absolutely go off, and they're always drafted rather late because they're rookies, and that's where they should be drafted. Um, so I like to play the gambling game a little bit. Just get a couple rookies, and hopefully at least one of them actually produces something. But yeah, definitely those later rounds are where I'm looking for my sleepers.
I I've I agree with both of you. I usually draft like at least one rookie. I I've hit on rookies and I've been burned by rookies, like mid round rookies. I took Cam Akers his rookie year, that didn't pan out. Took Jamar Chase his rookie year, totally panned out. You can
You
see
took
a
a
rookie in the situation and be like, this makes sense. They're definitely going to produce, and it just might not happen. Like they're so risky because we've never seen them before in
Mhm.
terms of NFL play. So I guess my question would be, how comfortable are you with taking two rookies, three rookies, or do you just stick with your one rookie and that's your guy? If he hits, he hits. He doesn't, he doesn't. Like how risky do you guys get in terms of the amount of rookies you take? And of course, I know you're gonna factor in value into that also in terms of if they're falling or not. But what do you guys like to kind of do?
It it depends on how my team's looking, I guess. If I have some really solid, steady players that I don't really have to worry too much about volatility, then I would draft a handful of rookies. I don't think that'd be a bad idea at all. But like I said, if I do have a lot of volatile players, then I'd probably cut back a little bit. I don't like drafting. I really don't like drafting rookies early. But last year, flashback to last year in my draft, I did draft Najee Harris, I think with my second round pick. And then I think I was one of the people who picked Kyle Pitts with either third or
Yeah.
fourth round pick.
Yep.
Um, Najee Harris turned out really good for me. Um, Kyle Pitts, not so much. So
Yep.
I don't know. Generally, I don't like taking rookies that early.
I'd say like honestly, no rookies before fifth round, sixth round. Like you know what I mean? Like that's just that's what where I'm at mentally with rookies because I've just been burned before. Like we been burned. You're either gonna hit or you're not. And I'd like to just like to have some game tape if I'm gonna take a guy with my first five picks.
I will say in my headspace at the time, I thought Najee Harris had the talent, uh,
So that
and I
worked.
also
That worked out
and
though.
and I also thought he was in a very good situation with the Pittsburgh offense. Uh, I mean, their O line's not the best, but uh, Pittsburgh Steelers running backs seem to get points, so that's where my
Been
head
the
was at.
trend.
Yeah, and it worked out.
And I said, look, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, this is where Jamal Charles used to live. This has to work. It has to.
Different
I don't know.
offense, different time.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I would say I like sophomore players, moving up the depth chart, um, rather than rookies. I'll definitely take both. Um, I think looking at what someone did last year in the NFL, against NFL talent, like that's a you maybe know more what you're getting there. That makes me feel better than just some rookie who you have no idea how that's going to turn out.
I, I definitely have more comfort with the rookies that are like, this is the guy. Like like the
Oh yeah,
receivers that are
definitely.
like in the first round. Like you're gonna be like, oh okay, it's probably the guy. But they're just risky to me. I don't know. I like the Najee Harris thing. That makes complete sense. It worked out, but I think it's just stay away. There's definitely value to rookies, but to feel comfortable, I would stay away until like the second half of my draft. But that's just me.
Definitely a late flyer won't hurt.
Yeah.
Can pay off really well too. So
Yeah, that's all fair. Um, would we want to play the categories game? A little bit of that.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I can't. So when did we start this? We started at 8:15, so we're hanging over just a little bit of an hour.
Yeah, I figured it's gonna be the trend.
Yeah, we always get 45 minutes. 45 minutes. It's gonna be 45 minutes,
Yeah,
and
well,
it's only been over an hour. That means we're having fun though.
yeah, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
We can play a little bit of the categories game before we sign off here. Um, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna list off some players one at a time. I'm gonna say what round they're being drafted in, and then you guys, me included, will have to categorize that player based on value, situation, or talent, which was the whole theme of the night, it seems like. Um, so to start off, I am going to say DJ Moore, fifth round. For PPR, I should say, for PPR.
uh, talents
Situation.
talents there.
Eh,
I think so. I mean, I think just situation wise, I'm not liking it.
yeah, I kind of forgot about the whole QB situation. Um, I'm a good talent. Also,
2 talents.
I'm a good talent.
I That's tough. I might be in the value boat.
Fifth round. That kind of sounds right to me.
It's
Yeah, I
it's
could see
close.
that.
It's close to what he's worth. I think it might be undervaluing him a little bit though. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 on that offense, and he he did well without. I think he had back to back years he did well, or was it just last year?
Um, no, back to back. He had over 1,000 receiving yards both the last 2 years. Touchdowns
Yeah,
weren't there. 4 and
I think
4.
yeah. So he's probably like around the wide receiver 15, a couple years in a row. I that might be his floor, and I think his QB situation's gonna improve with Baker. I mean, I would hope, but I mean that's potentially a wide receiver 1 going in the
Yeah, I mean,
fifth round. I don't
I
know.
definitely like DJ Moore as like a wide receiver 2, where he's kind of going. Like, yeah, I like that. Um, but like for me, I didn't do situation because like take a DJ Moore, give him to Green Bay. Think about that. Be nice.
Hey, do way better.
Be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be really
So
nice.
that's why I almost was like situation because like I'm like he's a top receiver on that team. He's gonna get so many targets. But I'm gonna go with talent because that QB's a question mark, and it's Panthers and
It's fair.
yeah.
Uh, Now how about Leonard Fournette in the 3rd round?
Did you guys
Sec
see the report today? I have to cut you
Yeah.
I
off.
brought him up.
Apparently he's getting large. Apparently he's getting large. No disrespect to Leonard Fournette. Sorry if you listen to our podcast.
Is his stock
Not
going down?
not not trying to shame you. I don't know if there's credibility to this report from Sleeper. Take it up with Sleeper. Apparently, the Buccaneers are not pleased with his current weight.
Yeah, I I don't know what's going on there. Um, you hate to overreact on some news. He's like, "Oh, now
Exactly. Yeah.
who's the rookie there? I don't even know." But you can't
I
be
know this.
hypersensitive to the news, I feel like.
Yeah. Um. So it's value, situation, or talent, right?
Right.
I'm going talent.
Well, there I would go situation, I think.
Yeah, I think
It
I would go situation too.
You know, situation. I didn't go situation. Um. Because he has what is his name? I'm blanking on his name. The depth chart. I I don't like their depth chart in that I could see Fournette yielding carries to who's behind him.
It's
Um,
white, but
yeah. Oh my god! I gotta shout out Google. Where's that sponsorship? We use you every week. Here's depth chart.
Yeah.
I just he is going so high ADP wise with Ronald Jones. What is a rookie? Why isn't he even listed on the depth chart? God, help me out, guys. What is it? Buccaneers rookie. There's a
We gotta
rookie there, right?
we gotta go to
Rashad
Bing.
White. Yes, Rashad. Yeah, bang it. Hit us up with a sponsorship. Yes, Connor, you're right. It was Rashad White. No,
Something
yes,
white.
Rashad White. Yes,
yeah,
Rashad White.
Okay.
So to me, Ronald Jones has been he's shown some stuff. There's been some running back controversy in terms of the starter. I mean, Leonard Fournette is the dude after
Is he still on the
statistically killing
team?
it last year.
Ronald Jones isn't on the team anymore.
Is he not?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
He's on
all right.
isn't he on the Chiefs? I
I'm
thought he
just
went over to
wrong.
the Chiefs. Everyone's going to the Chiefs.
Oh,
uh, yeah, he's with the
you're right.
Chiefs now.
You're right.
Wow.
You're right. Okay, so I'm gonna double down. Even with no Ronald Jones, I'm still gonna say talent, and I'm gonna say it because they've got this rookie running back right behind him. I have to be a little biased. I've heard this unhappy weight news now. Um, and I don't know when there was Fournette and there was Ronald Jones, there always felt like a slight running back controversy in which I remember my sleeper app. I'd always be hearing rumblings of like maybe this will be Ronald Jones's game, like where he gets the start. And like there would always be kind of like shifting thoughts on who's going to be the starter. I mean, Leonard Fournette did very, very well towards the end of last year. He really did. Uh, I mean, he had a really good finish overall too, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was a top 12 finish, right?
Could have
I
been
think so.
top 10.
Yeah, I just I'm gonna
Yeah.
go talent. He was drafted like top 3, top 4, top 5 when he was drafted in the NFL, and I just think I think he's going a little bit. He's going too high ADP wise. That's just where I'm at. I don't see the value there.
I think he's being drafted like second round, early third. I think he's being drafted where he should be. I think he's in a very good situation though with that high-powered offense. Um, yeah, there's not much more to add to that. I just think if you're in Tampa Bay's offense, you're probably going to be eaten a little bit with Tom Brady.
I could see taking the rookie, later in the draft. He's still there.
I would say that like if I were taking Fournette, I would absolutely be targeting Rashad White later in the draft because I wouldn't want to deal with the headache of like a potential rookie overtaking him.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, moving on. We have Christian Kirk, ninth or 10th round.
9th or 10th round. Is that really where his ADP is?
Yeah, currently.
Really?
Huh.
Um,
Hmm. It's tough. I mean, I could see um, Trevor Lawrence having much better year. Christian Kirk, you know, benefiting from that. So I wouldn't. I mean, just looking around, who else I'd take?
Okay. I will say you
Let's
don't
say
even have to pick any
situation.
of the three categories. If you don't think he's any of those categories, you could just say, I don't know, he's right where he should be, I guess. um, I mean, I,
I
I would go with value, I guess. I mean,
guess.
he's gonna be the top option on that offense, even though I'm not entirely confident in that offense. Um, yeah, I mean,
So
in the
here's
ninth and 10th rounds, you're not going to find too many guys who are like the clear cut wide receiver one for their respective teams.
so would you almost say this isn't a great situation, but he's the wide receiver one and will get targets. So then is it a good situation for him?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean you brought it up before with DJ Moore. Like if you put Christian Kirk and like the Packers offense with Aaron Rodgers, then that'd be a way better situation. So that's why I couldn't
I
really go situation for that.
I think he'll be value.
It's a tough one. He
It's
might
a
just
tough
be
one.
yeah, he might just be where he should be.
Yeah, it's the Jaguars. It's a Jaguar. Christian Kirk's a decent player, but I don't see him statistically improving from the Cardinals days. So like I don't know. For me, just I wouldn't expect more based on this
No,
change of scenery.
I mean I don't think he was ever the number one with the Cardinals. He always had a kind of guy above him.
That's true. I mean, that is true.
So I could see situation here.
Okay. Yeah. So, saying two situation, one value, or no, Kyle, you were kind of on the fence
I said
between
I'm
value.
on the fence, but I'll say value based on slight situation that I don't particularly like because it's on the Jaguars. Targets will be there, but it's coming on the Jaguars. So
Right. So big
it's a
caution sign.
confusing answer, but
Yeah.
you know,
Put a big
at
caution
your
sign
own
next to his name.
risk. Yeah.
What are we thinking? A couple more? One more? Um,
Let's do one or two more. What do you think? Two, one or two more?
yeah, we could do two more.
Round it out at 45 minutes.
That's a good one. How about this? Javonte Williams in the second round.
I'm not even giving you a value situation or talent. I'm saying nah to me personally. Not with Melvin Gordon there.
It's
You
none
can
of them.
I look like so dumb when we replay this in a year and it's like, wow, look, he
Yeah,
finished
the
top
talent's not
5.
there.
The talent's not there. He's the talent's not there. You seen him run
With Melvin
um
Gordon in that backfield,
with Melvin Gordon.
he's not doing
Melvin
anything.
Now, Matt, I know you don't like your old men, but Melvin Gordon's there.
Can't forget about him.
You can't forget.
I'm situation. I'm smashing situation.
Okay. I'd like to know why.
Uh, I just feel like that Broncos offense is going to be way better than last year with Russell Wilson. Um, he does have it's. I don't know if they're still going to go the committee route. I mean, I guess they would with Melvin Gordon, but definitely, I think Javonte Williams is going to get the first snaps. Um, so I don't know. Paired off with Russell Wilson, I think that offense is just going to perform much better than last season. So I would expect his numbers to go up from what they were last year, which I don't remember off the top of my head how he performed.
I'm
Yeah,
on sleeper. I'm
I
getting
would
it.
agree with that.
17 finish. Number 17.
Okay.
17, really?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, second year, I think that's something that learns a lot from your rookie year and come in second year and have a better performance. Definitely the situation with that offense, adding Russell Wilson, I think that could only get better. Uh, just like, do I want to say talent or situation? I'm always situation kind of guy anyway, so
I'm going to say talent, and I'm going to say no to situation because we have Melvin Gordon there, who I think is going to pounds. And I'm not going to say value because I'm personally not comfortable taking Javonte Williams in the second round.
Right. So we got two situations, and then one. Or would you say Kyle? I'm
I
sorry.
had to I gave talent because
Oh,
he's a
you
talented
talent,
player.
talent.
Yeah.
Okay. Last player. Um, I mean, no, we already talked about him too much from the last episode. I was gonna say AJ Brown, but
Javante
we've
Adams.
no. I'm gonna say Michael Pittman, 4th round.
Ooh, okay, that's a good one. That's a really
Mhm.
good one. Oh, situation. Well,
I'm leaning talent for him.
talent.
I
Yeah,
think
I would definitely say talent.
he's a really talented guy. Um, I'm not in love with his situation
No, that's
with
why I
Matt
said, wait a
Ryan,
minute. Yeah,
and they also have Jonathan Taylor, so I feel like they're gonna almost be a run first kind of team. But I mean, I think overall that offense is gonna do pretty well, um, and I'm expecting Pittman to definitely be their wide receiver one.
this is the trap I'm falling into because I keep wanting to be like situation because he's gonna get so many targets, but then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like thinking about the offense. I'm like, is that this offense high powered enough to warrant me labeling situation? You know what I mean? Um,
And he's almost a value pick for me in the 4th round.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like fourth round Michael Pittman, I like that. I'll go value there. Yeah, sure, whatever. Value. Let's say value. Fourth round.
I,
I mean, he had 130, just about 130 targets last year.
mm-hmm.
I see that being the same or increasing. So
Yeah.
here's
It seems
is
like
it a
we're
talent or situation or value? Uh,
All
yeah.
three.
draft Michael Pittman. There's my answer. Draft Michael
Overall,
Pittman.
yeah, we're all in agreement. It seems like we're high on Pittman,
Yeah.
unless Connor, you think otherwise.
No, no. Yeah, I was high on him last year too, and I took him pretty late in the draft too. So yeah, I'm high on him again this year. Even better year to this year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
16 standard finish, 17 PPR finish last year. 1,000 yard, 1,082 yards, 6 touchdowns, 88
Yeah,
receptions.
that was definitely above whatever his ADP projected him to do. I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah,
Definitely.
Uh,
I
yeah,
might have taken him in like the 7th round or something. Kind of crazy.
yeah. I could definitely see him being a top 10 receiver this year. Like that wouldn't be one of my wildest bets that I'd make. I'd feel pretty comfortable with that one.
not a hot tamale take.
Not a hot tamale take. What about a lukewarm take?
It's a lukewarm take, I guess. Fourth
Okay.
round, yeah, I guess. I wouldn't be terribly surprised.
Yeah. All right. Guess that wraps up all the talking points that we had.
Yep.
Guys, have any final thoughts?
Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. We also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page, and we are the same across the board at Lakeside Fantasy. We that's our page on Facebook, page on Instagram. That's our name on YouTube. Uh, thanks for listening. We hope that this was beneficial to you. That's all I have.
Yeah. Our next episode, we're gonna be talking about tier list, right? That's what we have up next.
Oh, we already started
That's
that episode this week.
well, yeah, we got a little bit into it this week. We got too excited, but
They're filling out. I'm looking at them right now. Tier lists, and they're looking different. So that's going to be a good one. We're going to be screaming at each other. We might not enjoy each other's company after next week. I'm not sure, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it for you guys. Put our friendships on the line for all of you.
for entertainment.
Absolutely. All right. So until then, we're signing off.
Thanks for
Anything you want to?
listening.
Yeah.
Or I got nothing to add, unless
Yeah.
you do, Connor.
I think you both said it perfectly.
All righty.
All right,
We will
guys.
see you all next week.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you.
Adios.